That's a mistake that everybody makes when it comes down to checking in. Is either you checking in to get set up and get robbed, or you checking in to get killed. If you got that, just the rules of the streets in LA. It's like people think Beverly Hills is so far away, but the hood is only like 10, 15 minutes away.
Seen it happen to Pop Smoke. Then I seen PnB Rocky.
The crazy part about it is I was at Roscoe's when it happened. But he stood on his business, but then it ultimately cost his life.
All right, man. So today we got Luce Cannon, right? Luce Cannon was wrapped up in that big Rolling 60s RICO indictment that seen Big U, Luce, Brick Baby, and a bunch of other people being arrested a few days ago. And we got Luce kind of making headlines today with people saying that he has implicated not only himself, but also Big U in the murder and robbery of PnB Rock. Now, if you guys remember, PnB Rock was murdered back on September the 12th, 2022 while he was in LA visiting Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. Apparently, two people approached him while he was in a restaurant. They demanded that he take the chains off of his neck. PnB refused, and so they shot and killed him. Now, a father and son duo were actually implicated and arrested for this crime right here. And for most people, when that arrest was announced, it marked the end of the story. But we are seeing this story have a resurgence online thanks to Luce Cannon, because Luce Cannon has extremely loose lips. And with the RICO indictment that just came out against Big U, it's got a lot of people reading over the details and looking back on things that Luce Cannon has said in the past. For example, the clip that I played at the beginning, you can hear Luce Cannon say, I was actually at that Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles when the entire thing went down, which is highly suspicious because we know based on the paperwork in that complaint that was filed against Big U and everybody that at one point in time, Luce Cannon kind of worked as an enforcer for Big U. He was the muscle. In the indictment, there are several instances of them talking about Luce Cannon robbing people on behalf of Big U so that they could then extort those people for the things Luce Cannon robbed them for. This is backed up by Luce Cannon throughout numerous interviews that he's done throughout the years, where he basically says, yeah, I was working with Big U. Yeah, I was robbing people. Yeah, we was extorting people. Luce has admitted to this on camera in the past. Well, at some point in time, Luce Cannon, Big U, they have a falling out. And Luce Cannon started to make it a point to speak out against Big U, mostly when he was doing interviews with Whack 100, like the time they were on No Jumper. And Luce Cannon pretty much said that Big U had Nipsey Hussle killed. He said that he knows that because Big U had actually called his phone prior to Nipsey Hussle dying and told him that Nipsey Hussle was dead. He said he called Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey was still alive. They got off the phone, and a few minutes later, somebody killed Nipsey. So Luce's whole thing was, how would Big U know that Nipsey was about to die if he didn't have something to do with it? That's one example of Luce speaking out against Big U since they had their falling out. But it's not anything new. Since then, he has on multiple occasions called Big U out and spoke on their prior business dealings.
Big U, sweetie pie, you got the Diddy effect going on now. You see how you had all those people riding with you, and then the allegations came out, and then the facts came out? Sweetheart, now everybody is not doing nothing and saying nothing and sticking up. Where's Spider-Loc at? Where is Brick Baby at? Where is all these minions that you had coming out for? Oh, it was a cold weekend for you. Listen, you talking about all this other stuff, trying to change your life. You can't change your life because what in the dark must come to the light, sweetheart. It don't matter what you did. It could be 20 years from now. Bill Cosby went to jail. R. Kelly went to jail. P. Diddy about to go to jail. You're not exempt.
So as you can see, Luce Cannon ended up not being such a big fan of Big U. He even gave him the name Big Useless and Big Uterus, right? Well, today, like I said, he's kind of making a little bit of headlines because there is this clip right here going viral of Luce Cannon doing an interview where he speaks on this situation about PnB Rock and him and Big U actually being at the scene of the crime when PnB Rock was killed. Now, the guy who posted this, Chicago Ghetto 3, he wrote a caption on here that says Luce Cannon admits him and Big U robbed and killed Philly rapper PnB Rock over his jewelry. And I just want to say that's not necessarily what Luce Cannon says in this clip. He doesn't say that we're the ones responsible for PnB Rock and what happened to him, but what he does say is that we were on location. We were there. And I think given the history of Big U that has recently been exposed in this complaint or this indictment, I think that this information is super relevant right now. And given the history of Big U having people robbed so that he could then extort them after it went down, and knowing that Luce Cannon at this point in time when PnB Rock died was like an enforcer for Big U, I think that it kind of sheds a new light on what may have went down, right? Y'all listen to this clip.
Rock got killed in the
Roscoe's.
Yeah.
So I felt it was like super messed up because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in there when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him, like, bro, just give up the jury and we get it back to you later. But it just happened so fast and he wasn't cooperating. And that's when they took it off of him by force. You get what I'm saying?
What do you say to a person who won't give up their jury when something like that's happening?
No, give it up and then check in with the real people. So we're going to find a jury and we're going to get it because we know all the pawn shops, we know all the people that's going to melt it down and everything like that. So as soon as it comes on their table, we got it. Get it, go in that back room, make that phone call, put them on the phone. That's how it works.
So if you listen to what Luce Cannon is saying, he's saying, nah, bro, if you get robbed in LA, what you need to do is give it up and then check in with the real people so we can get it back for you. And we know because we just read the indictment the other day that this is the exact activity that Big U was exhibiting. This is the exact activity that Luce Cannon was taking part in. This is exactly what they had going on. And I think the wording that Luce Cannon used in this situation in particular is kind of telling, right? You need to give it up. You need to check in with the right people. We can get it back for you. This is how their extortion racket worked. Now, he doesn't say, like the title of that video says, he doesn't say that they did it, but he does say that they were on scene. They were in the location. And what do you guys think the odds are of Big U, somebody that is running a racket like this, and Luce Cannon, somebody that is enforcing this racket? What do you think the chances are that they just happen to randomly be at this exact restaurant at the exact time that PnB Rock was there and while he was being robbed for his things? I'm not going to say this proves that they were involved, but I'm going to say that this is a very substantial coincidence. Yeah, that's what I'm rolling with, a substantial coincidence. Now, another thing that I found interesting about this whole situation is I actually found a clip from an interview that PnB did with Bootleg Kev where they actually discussed these kind of robberies happening in LA, and PnB Rock said that they had tried to do this to him multiple times before the time that ended in him losing his life, right? And I thought that that was interesting to say the least.
There's some Grand Theft Auto shit going on right now.
Fuck, bro, you seen that shit where a nigga just walked up on
in the
restaurant
and was,
yeah, bro, that shit was goofy to me.
Me and my wife keep it super low key, but I tell my wife when we go out to eat, I'm like, she got a big ass wedding ring. I'm like, leave that shit at the crib. I don't even want to have to.
I feel you though, bro. You don't want, unless you're gonna move around with security, and you don't want to have to do that shit every time you go out.
100%.
Feel me? Like that shit be ass, bro.
People are targets out here, and especially
niggas try me out here a couple times. You feel me? Like I ain't gonna lie, but that shit don't never work. You feel me? I be too on point. Like I'm from the same shit y'all trying to do. I done did the shit. You feel me? Like I done.
You're ready for that kind of.
Fuck yeah, bro. Yeah. I be on it. You can't. Feel me?
A lot of people need to understand when they come to LA.
Don't think this shit a joke. Yeah, this
this
Hollywood and all that.
Yeah,
shit.
but like, yo, man, leave your fucking jewelry in the hotel room, or just leave it at home. Like, there's no reason for you to be moving around with $100,000 worth of jewelry.
And if you're gonna do that shit, bro, be safe.
Yeah, man, crazy situation, but that's what we got. Luce Cannon said that he was in the building when the situation with PnB Rock went down. And I find that detail to be highly suspect because he also says Big U was in attendance as well, which is crazy considering all the information we just learned about Big U. But man, that's what we got. That's the video. Y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about this in the comments down below. Anyways, that's basically it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man. I'm out.